Thank you so much for joining me. Please introduce yourself.
Thank you, Emily. My name's Chris O'Brien. I'm the Products and Services Director at a company called Advania in the UK. MVP for 18 years now, been close to Microsoft most of my career. Started out technical and developer, but then came into more strategic roles.
Fantastic. Can you tell me a bit about your session and some key takeaways that you presented this week?
Sure. So here I spoke about automation, in particularly automating RFP responses, which is, I kind of describe it as the poster child of agents and automation. It's the thing that everybody reaches for. Even if you look at Microsoft, they've got 3 or 5 samples and kind of pointers to it. And it's quite an interesting space because there's about 1,000 SaaS applications that all have AI built into them now. But what we found, I suppose, is some of those solutions just don't work for organizations. You know, they insist on data stored in their platform, which is obviously a compliance challenge for many. But yeah, just a really interesting scenario to go deep. And you know, this is a production agent for us, where the client is telling us they saved 400 person days a year. Wow. So not POC, not playing around. This is real world and delivering value.
That's fantastic. It's really great to have the sessions where we're seeing measurable value from AI that we're implementing. A lot less of the theory that we've been hearing in the past couple of years. Right. How do you see AI and Copilot evolving over the next year? Maybe some of Microsoft's strategy or interests?
I think it's interesting. So if you think about where we started maybe a year or two ago, you know, big, almost purist push on Copilot. And Microsoft, you know, even adjusting stance a little bit. There was a big focus on security and readiness and data governance at first, but then perhaps a realization that, you know, we want organizations to be moving ahead, and you can't solve for all of that. That's not a quick fix. So maybe the sort of risk can be balanced with some clever approaches. And I think since then we've seen a big evolution into not just purist Copilot, but Copilot plus agents. You know, that's pretty much the conversation. To solve real business processes, or to solve real business problems or automate processes, you're probably going to need some level of agents that are a little bit task specific or use case specific, along with general Copilot productivity gains. So I think that's where Microsoft have evolved. Where I see it going next is, you know, I was at Microsoft Ignite a couple of weeks ago. Really interesting to pick up on some of the keynotes. If you've watched Microsoft for years and years like we have, you kind of get a sense for reading between the lines of these things. A couple of things that stood out to me. You know, you see Microsoft being a bit more explicit these days about almost competing with OpenAI. So OpenAI, of course, make the models, you know, Frontier Lab, they make all the major advances. Microsoft still have a 28% stake in them, but some real pointed references in the keynote to how Copilot is superior to anything that's just model level. So what I see Microsoft doing is doubling down on the layers above Copilot, doubling down on memory, doubling down on things like Work IQ, which is essentially that intelligence layer that comes from everything that Microsoft know in the graph and all of the data, Teams chats, calendar invites, information in everything else in the ecosystem. And almost like that becoming a memory on steroids. So something that understands how the business works, how the organization works, key people, maybe how the organization earns money, but also me as an individual, the tasks that I perform, the people that I collaborate with, things that are important to me. Well, it's quite interesting because a general AI company can't get to that, but Microsoft can. That's part of their unique advantage. So I see them really doubling down on that.
That's very interesting. I think we saw a lot in that first year before we had that partnership of Copilot and agents in specific use cases. A lot of people also going outside of the Microsoft 365 world and Copilot to other areas of AI, using it outside that business space too.
Yeah, right. And that's also an area that Microsoft invest in the sense of helping you put more guardrails and detection around that. So, you know, following along quite closely in the Purview and Defender space and things that are coming in Agent 365, where Microsoft may be helping you get a grip on that kind of maybe unsanctioned or at least shadow AI usage, and getting down to really granular controls. So like maybe you're okay with using ChatGPT alongside Copilot, but you don't want files being uploaded there. And now Microsoft, you know, getting there with really granular controls. So, you know, organizations can similarly get to the posture that they want, but also maybe major on Microsoft.
Yeah, that makes sense. Now, the conversation around work IQ is new and interesting. Do you have any insights or guidance around how people can understand what that is, what it does, compared to the graph, which we've been talking about for so long?
Yeah. Well, I think of it as the graph has always been there, and that's the layer on top of the data, if you like. Work IQ is the thing that makes use of that. And if you think about the concept of memory in most AI solutions these days, it's taking cues from past conversations and other data that it's got access to tailor how the model behaves, tailor the contextuality, if you like. And Work IQ is that taken to quite a few more levels. So not just the data being on hand, but if you imagine almost some kind of database that is continually being built up from everything that Microsoft can derive about you, your work, the organization. And I see it as almost concentric circles. There's the individual, there's the team, there's maybe some kind of surrounding department or function, and then there's the entire organization. And I definitely see Work IQ as Microsoft leveraging all of that to provide this layer that is just way on top of what the LLM itself provides. And it's just going to tailor responses. It's going to kind of go out and reference some of this information. And it should give, far higher outputs and outcomes than just using an AI model on its own.
Makes sense. When it comes to the Microsoft graph, sometimes I think there can be critiques. It's a bit of a black box. Maybe we're not getting the results that we want. Do you have any guidance or experiences that align with that feedback?
We've built quite a lot of applications that use the graph one way or another. I think it's a special part of the ecosystem in that, again, Microsoft always look for places where they have competitive advantage, places that other people can't easily replicate. And the graph now powers so many of the experiences, but I also think it's now we're probably into a cycle where a few years now people have been building their own applications on it, accessing all the data, whether it's email, Teams, calendar, planner, Viva Engage, other Viva apps, it's all there. And we've had quite a lot of success. You can build really tailored applications on that. So here I spoke about an RFP agent that we've developed, and that's tapping into quite a lot of that, so that you can produce a well-rounded experience, but is really fitting to how the organization works.
What made you dive deep into that RFP agent as your topic?
So like I say, I think it's kind of the poster child for a lot of agents and automation at the moment. But we worked with a few organizations, and one in particular that really wanted to go deep. Their scenario was really interesting. They're a global leading law firm, about 1,200 lawyers, headquarters in San Francisco, but places around the world. And for them, winning business is just absolutely critical. It's one of the most important functions in their business. And they have a dedicated bid team of about 17 people. Now, that's quite interesting because I think most organizations maybe have 2 or 3 people that do this and maybe not full-time. But winning business is so important for them that they've got 17 dedicated full-time, and they are trying to serve approximately 2,500 opportunities per year. Now, the business case for this solution and why they wanted to go deep and create an agent that was really capable isn't that they were trying to strip cost out and make that team smaller. It's more the opposite. So they have all sorts of metrics to say, if an opportunity flows through the professional bid team, their win rate is about 72%. If it's overflow and needs to be served by other people around the business, the win rate is about 33%. Now, these are often big contracts. They serve a lot of Silicon Valley. They serve a lot of big tech. Winning business is just a key part of how these professional services firms operate. So their rationale is, if we can provide the AI tooling that helps more of our opportunities flow through this team and raise their throughput, we're not stripping cost out. We're raising the top line. We're winning more business. We're competing. We're putting our best foot forward in the right way in all of these opportunities. We're actually going to bring more revenue in, and that's the driver. So it's really interesting, and as an organization tackling this use case, I think we went really quite deep. The solution is really capable, which is what's leading to this this sort of time saving that they've recognized. And it's quite interesting because they're really bought into Microsoft AI. They have Copilot widely licensed. I think that's pretty much across most of the business. We help them with the adoption. But they realize that you need to build specific solutions as well. Copilot is great for when you're just general, working in sort of productivity and collaboration, but it's going across everything in your tenant. And sometimes you need that focus, you need that specificity. So they've recognized that to get to all of the outcomes, it's a combined approach that brings together the best of what Microsoft do.
That makes sense. Well, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge with the community, everything that you contribute to them, and joining me today for this conversation.
Thank you very much. Thank you.